You got the Chiefs taking on the Commanders. I mean, Jaden Daniels hamstring, not long term, but long enough to rule him out of a Monday night game middle of this week. What's the scoop there for a Washington
It's a
team that
low
really
grade.
they need him,
Yeah.
Tom? I mean, let's be straight up. I mean, I know Mariota is somebody who can be stopgap, but this is it. Like rubber's soon meeting the road on a season here.
Well, you're 3-4, and you're
Yeah,
going to face a Chiefs team that looks like they once again might be the best team in the AFC, and you
right.
got a defense that hasn't been stopping anyone. Oh yeah, going up against the healthiest and most full strength Chiefs team they've had, particularly with Rashee Rice back in the lineup. But with Jaden Daniels, the idea was if you're trying to push through the hamstring and get out on the field, that's different than going through a 2 week rehab protocol here and focusing on the rehab. They just wanted to take that option off the table at the start of the week, have Jaden rehabbing the injury. My understanding, and Dan Quinn has alluded to this publicly, it's a very low grade hamstring injury. But when you're talking about a quarterback who uses his legs like Jaden does, he's a very good pocket passer, but he does use that mobility. You run the risk if you go out there even 8 days later of popping something and all of a sudden now you're looking at an IR stint because you made it worse. They just want to focus on him getting healthy. So you're going to have to try to find a way with Marcus Mariota. The best news, if you're a Commanders fan, is Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel were full participants in practice on Thursday. It has been a while since either of those guys were practicing that much. That would seem, and listen, with Terry McLaurin, there's been no setbacks, but he got into last week and everyone thought he was going to play, and then he just decided he wasn't there. We'll see how that plays out through the course of the week. But again, full participation seems to have him on track. And Deebo, after taking last week off because that heel pain just got so bad, both those guys should be out there. That makes a difference. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some things, whether it's schematically or personnel-wise on defense, that are a little bit different. For Washington this week, they're going to have to throw something at a Chiefs offense that, like I said, is really looking like they're gathering steam right now.
So McLaurin, yes. Debo, yes. Jaden Daniels, no, for Monday, as we know.
That is
Okay.
what it appears to be.
Okay.
Not firm yet on Terry or Debo, whether or not they have a setback during the week, but seems like those guys are going to get back. We got a lot of quarterback stuff, Rich, going on, through the course of this week. Michael Penix Jr. also, he had the injury last week, and there was a lot of confusion. Raheem Morris kind of got misquoted in his press conference. People speculated, is it the foot? Was it the ankle? My understanding is Michael Penix Jr. has a bone bruise in his knee. That's where the injury is. Some things got lost in translation there. Doesn't sound like it's any type of a major deal. Full expectation that he's going to be able to play on Sunday against the Dolphins, but keep an eye on that. Does that impact him in terms of the types of things they want to do with him? Again, not a guy who's a big runner, but he does have functional mobility. If that's limited at all, then one thing the Dolphins defense does have is they do have pass rushers, so that's worth keeping an eye on. And then Bryce Young, as the Panthers go into a game against the Bills, I reported on Monday it's a high ankle sprain, not expected to play this week. The Panthers have said he's day to day, but has not practiced at all Wednesday and Thursday. They want to keep the door open until the last second, but seems like we're going to see Andy Dalton against the Bills on Sunday for a Panthers team that right now they got a lot going for them, Rich. First time we're at mid-season. You're talking about Carolina. I mean, they're a game back in the NFC South right now. They're a very relevant team, but now going up against the Bills team that seems to be getting healthier. They're coming off the bye. I think that's going to be a really interesting one to watch on Sunday.
And then you didn't even mention Lamar. Does that mean we're expecting him? I know Ben Johnson said this week for a Bears team on a 4-game win streak that they're planning for Lamar, and they'll just adjust to Snoop or Cooper Rush, which is probably a wise game plan. Is it Lamar? We got him?
I always hesitate to speak definitively on Lamar Jackson because there have been weeks where he doesn't do anything all week because he's sick or because he's banged up, whatever, and then he plays. He is just a bit of a wild card. What I would point to is John Harbaugh said before the bye, coming out of the bye, they expect Lamar to play this week. Lamar has been on the practice field, albeit limited, the past couple of days. I would be surprised sitting here right now if Lamar does not play on Sunday against the Bears. We'll get the final injury report. They could list him as questionable, but based upon what I know and what they have admitted or acknowledged publicly to this point, I believe Lamar will be back for a big game. I mean, you got to get this one on Sunday against the Bears. If you lose, you're 1-6, and you effectively have to run the table. They got a lot of guys back. Roquan Smith is back. That's huge for the defense as well. So seems like if the Ravens are going to make a run, they're going to be as close to full strength as they've been this entire season.
Yeah, if you look at the research packet we get from the top-notch NFL Network research staff, and I'm sure you do, Tom, because you're a professional. There are in the history of the playoffs since 1990, the number of 1-6 teams to make the playoffs is 0%. 0 out of 91. It's never happened. 2-5, 6.3%. So the chances become dumb and dumber a little bit higher with a win, you know. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.